Hello, everyone, and welcome to another small screen Star Wars. As always, I'm Julian Misha. I'm joined by Rachel Wilkinson.
Hi.
Who's become a new regular.
Yeah.
You gross.
Yeah, I'm so gross.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm starting to demand payment, but
You're gonna have to ask more frequently.
yeah.
And also
sounds like my real job.
yeah. No one's really getting paid these days.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
Speaking of which, this month on our Patreon, patreon.com/TowerBabbleCast, is free. It's going to be free, no charge this month. So I don't know how this works exactly. Surprising no one. But I think what we'll just do is we'll make next month's stuff public instead of trying to have people subscribe for free, and then it just becomes a whole mess. So we'll just make everything public next month, and those who are Patreon subscribers won't have to pay for anything. So patreon.com/TowerBabbleCast if you want to help support the show. Twitter.com/TowerBabbleCast is a good place to keep up with the show. I don't know if you know this. You probably don't even follow the show on Twitter. Do you have a Twitter account?
I have a Twitter. I think maybe you made me follow it once.
Oh, probably. Every time you're very quick to tell people that I have a podcast and then make fun of me about it really fast.
No.
But look where you are now.
I know.
Look where you are now.
I don't think I've ever told anyone you had a podcast or made fun of you behind your back.
That's definitely both those things aren't. I guarantee you.
I said I've
true.
never done either of those things. I've only made fun of you to your face.
Oh, okay.
But I take it all back.
You.
I take it back.
Okay. So you have made fun of me behind my back?
No.
Oh.
Only to your face.
Okay. Anyway, it's fine. Twitter.com/TowerBabbleCast, Facebook.com/TowerBabbleCast, and TowerBabblePodcast.com is where you find everything we do. What are we doing today, though? We're talking about what are we talking about? Star Wars?
Clone Wars.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars, yeah.
Season 7, Episode 6.
Yes.
Called I forgot already.
Deal No Deal.
Deal No Deal. So yeah, so it's just like the TV show from that game show, right?
Except without the or.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes.
Or the germaphobe. Although one of these might be a germaphobe. One of the characters on the show.
One of these ones.
Howie Mandel is a germaphobe.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking
Yeah, it's a deep
about?
cut reference.
Yeah, I thought you were like going into some
Howie Mandel's the
COVID-19
right reference, right?
thing, and yeah, I don't know. I went somewhere else with it.
Is Howie Mandel the right person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is a germaphobe.
Just checking. No, I'm not. Is he the person from? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who's laughing now? Right.
Is he on Deal or No Deal? I know he's on like American Idol.
Legally couldn't use the or. So what happens in this episode? It starts with Trace and Ahsoka working on. It picks up from last week's episode,
Right.
and which we both loved, and and it picks up. They're working on. By the way, for the record, I like this episode much more.
I did too. I really enjoyed this one. So.
And it's longer. It's 26 minutes, and it really I think benefits from the length a lot.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they were able to play with the length a bit. You know?
Yeah, it definitely beats that 18-minute Bad Batch episode. So
it's actually just a short that they just tried to pitch us as a whole episode. Yeah. So the episode starts that picks up after last week's. I guess some time has passed. It's not clear how much. She's just hanging around. It's not clear where they sleep. Or
No.
like, or how they eat, or like she has no money, so whatever.
Yeah.
And they're fixing her ship, which she tells her is going to be called the Silver Angel. Trace calls it the Silver Angel.
Yes.
And then that name gets made fun of twice.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think it's a lame name?
It's brutal. Yeah.
Really?
It sounds like something that like a little girl would make up.
Maybe.
It's not a good
Well,
name.
she is a young woman.
Yeah.
And she's very naive. She doesn't even know how to fly the ship.
I know, but when you have other names, like
the Millennium
Phantom
Falcon
and Ghost and Millennium Falcon and like.
To be fair, the Phantom is just a mini ship that attaches to the.
And then they have
Ghost.
Phantom 2.
Yeah, yeah. So that one's not really, and it's kind of like a play off the original name. It's fine. There is cool names for ships.
Yeah, it's
in
not
Star
the
Wars,
best one.
But Silver Angel
Sucks.
Yeah. So the funniest part is that she loves the name. Trace thinks it's so good.
Yeah,
and then she loves it so much that she answers a a hail from what's his name? I can't remember the guy with the mustache.
I don't know his actual
it's like
name or whatever.
Commodore something or whatever. He's in A New Hope.
Okay.
Anyway, she just really wants to tell everyone that it's called the Silver Angel. There is a good joke though when Trey says, like, "Well, why don't?" Or Ahsoka's like, "Why don't you just name my bike then?" And she's like, "I did. It's named Trash."
Trash, yeah. Just harsh. Well, I like that there's a little bit, like there's always these little things about Ahsoka trying to hide where she came from.
Right.
So like right at the beginning, Trace is again being like, where, like, how do you know everything, like, about ships? Like, you've obviously worked on starships before. And then Ahsoka tries to say, she's like, oh, I went to the Skywalker Academy. It's like, way to use the biggest name you possibly could.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, Skywalker's
But,
like,
yeah. Luckily,
it's
Trace
like
has never
Smith
heard
in Star Wars. It's just, they're all over the place. That's not true.
Yeah, I was like, it's like I couldn't hear the sarcasm enough in your voice.
Technically,
there,
it's
so.
not a famous name.
No, I guess not. But
right.
At this point, he's a pretty famous general, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, he probably would be.
But probably more in like the war scene, not necessarily like in the
these
underground.
guys don't even really care.
They don't even know what about Jedis, really.
Yeah.
Half of them don't even know they exist.
Exactly.
So.
And
Yeah,
Ahsoka's becoming more and more disillusioned with the Jedi Order.
Right.
Which is probably for the best.
Yeah.
She was a little bit like, also pretty naive in terms of like how she saw. She might be more like world weary than these, two knuckleheads.
Oh, she definitely knows a lot
Yeah.
more. Like, we'll see that through the rest of this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, she knows a lot more about not the real world, but.
Right. She says earlier, like later in the episode, she's like, I pay attention to the world around me. But she's also been given a chance to experience the world where those two haven't been.
Yeah, and travel and know a lot more from like military standpoints about different things.
There is, so we kind of just skipped over it. We're watching it right now, but the part where they get into that military lane and they get hailed by the cruiser.
Yeah.
Which I guess Anakin's just happens to be standing on.
I know you're mad about that.
It's just like
I wasn't mad about
of all
it.
the ships, of all, like, it's fine. I guess it makes sense because it's on Coruscant and whatever.
Yeah, they need a storyline. I like it. I want as much Anakin Ahsoka interaction as I can possibly have.
There was zero interaction.
I know, but it was still a little bit. It was still enough that it's like, like it just like pangs my heart a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
Tugs on those heartstrings. Because I do, like, I don't know. We
Yeah,
don't
her
know
older
if
brother.
she ever sees him again until...
I don't think...
we don't know.
I'm pretty sure we do.
We don't know yet if she's
I
going to have an interaction
here's
with
my
Anakin
guess.
yet. Okay.
They do.
I hope so.
Anyway, so they get in this lane, and it's it definitely, I felt like, was reference to the I guess that's Return of the Jedi fly casual scene.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
because there's like a bunch of people like pointing and telling them what to do stuff, and they're like, pull up, stop telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's hilarious. And I thought that was arguably one of the best parts of this episode. And I think what this episode does really well is, and what I would argue the past episode didn't do very well, is able to capture this idea of like banter and like a team on a mission. Yeah. That feels very Star Wars.
It does.
It feels very classic Star Wars. You're going couple planets. You've got like a mission. Some people think it's going to work. Other people don't think it's going to work. You have like people pulling in like a couple different directions, and it feels very much like the gang hanging out on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, the classic like hijinks of a mission that's kind of not really going as well because they never do.
Right.
They never go well. They never go smooth.
They have. Would you say that they have a bad feeling about this?
I think they should.
There's this.
I think that's why they didn't tell Ahsoka what the mission was beforehand.
Two crimes this episode makes in my mind. One is they never say punch it. No one says punch it in this episode, and there's a really great opportunity for someone to say punch it, and then even to play on a joke where Jinx, what's her freaking name? Rafa and Trace. Yeah. I called her Jinx.
Yeah.
Trace doesn't know what that means. She's like, she's not a pilot. She's not very good at it.
Right.
That's another thing. Turns out she built the ship, but she doesn't know how to fly it.
She built it piece by piece, does know how to fly it, and then when that military is hailing her, she's like, "Oh, you need a license?"
Could you imagine building? Yeah, you need a license for these?
Yeah.
That's, by the way, that's every person who captains a ship, like in just any random person who owns a boat, on the ocean. No one has a license.
Guilty.
No one has it. If you've driven a boat and you don't have a license, you're a criminal.
Yeah.
And you should report yourself to the police.
Super guilty. Who hasn't driven a boat without a license?
Basically every single person. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, you need a license for this? Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like, again, she could have said punch it, and then we're like, what does that mean? And then the same thing could happen. It would have worked. But I guess it kind of cuts the tension a little bit.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then the other crime is that no one says I have a bad feeling about this because clearly Ahsoka should have said I have a bad feeling about this at least once.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Because her
it's
face,
a missed opportunity.
Her face
says
it.
it all. She's like, she knows it's a bad idea.
Yeah. So they go to Kessel, and as soon as they pop out of hyperspace, and you see that like those like buoys, I guess, and like the flashing like lightning in that storm. Yeah. I was like, Kessel, and then they said Kessel. I was like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
I know, it's sweet. I was so pumped that there's Kessel in this, and getting to see some like little callbacks to older stuff. So yeah, I was pumped about it. But
part of what I thought was cool was showing us the non-shitty part of Kessel first.
Right. Yeah.
Right, because
you never see that.
All we've ever seen is the spice mines in Solo, which they definitely take us to, and it looks exactly the same, and that's very cool. But we get to see this like very like this forested area with this big castle, and they're working for a king, right? And it's just Trace is just so
excited.
She's very excited. She's very annoying, I find, in this episode.
Yeah. She's like a kid's sister, right?
Yeah.
So she's constantly trying to be like, I have the fastest ship in the galaxy. Like,
right.
You don't.
Well, I guess,
but
to be fair, like, they say that about the Millennium Falcon all the time, and there's no way. There's definitely faster ships than the Millennium Falcon. I'm just like...
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Scientifically speaking, there's no faster ship.
We're not going to argue Star Wars science.
No, because if we were, we'd talk about that space thing you said earlier. That I'm not even going to say because I'm going to save you from yourself. There is a stupid part where she says that her air brakes are on, but they're in space, so I don't really know how that works. It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't realize there wasn't friction in space.
You didn't have to tell anyone that. I wasn't
well,
gonna tell
you brought
anyone
it up. I'm telling the world now.
Right.
I didn't know there wasn't friction in space when you fly a spaceship. Sue me.
Right, you can throw... You could just touch something, and it would just go forever.
I get it. Now.
Okay.
Fuck you.
It's fine. There's the Star Wars has never been that concerned about the rules of science.
Yeah, there's explosions, so
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
Air,
but it just they called it air brakes. That's what
I know.
I guess it would have been funny if it's like, oh, the space brakes are on.
Space brakes. Yeah. What else would? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they get to this castle, I guess, for lack of a better term. Now, Ahsoka is basically being what most in most stories, right? It was like you see or these types of characters like the naggy wife or like the it's often a naggy wife, and it's like
naggy wife.
Or a like of it's for whatever reason there's a lot of it that for I'm not saying I don't make the rules, and I'm not saying it's a rule. I'm just saying that a lot of times it's given to a female character to be like the don't do it, it's dangerous kind of role. Right. And then most people don't like them because they're countering they're like there's a call to adventure for these people, right? And the person saying no, don't do it, it's dangerous. It's like, well, no, fuck this. We want to see the adventure. Right?
I'm sorry, isn't Obi-Wan always telling Anakin not to do shit?
Yeah, that's true. I'm just I'm not. Listen, I'm just saying
so
broadly across. Broadly, we've talked about this. We already established he's a single dad.
Yeah.
Hardcore dad bod.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, broadly across media, that's generally a character that people don't like, right?
Yeah.
And so they're putting Ahsoka into this role, right, where she has to bounce off of both Rafa, who's just a bitch.
Oh yeah,
she's like
the worst. She doesn't give a shit about anybody or anyone's opinions.
No, she says, she keeps reminding Trace we're in this together. It's always about family.
Yeah.
But really, and Ahsoka calls her out on it. It's like it's not about we or you two. It's about you and her helping you when you need help, but you're never there for her when she needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Rafa helping her build her ship?
No,
by the way,
never there.
She built it from scratch.
Yes.
She assembled it part by part. Can you imagine? Oh, you're saying I could, like you said before, I couldn't build a bicycle from scratch.
I couldn't build a bicycle from scratch.
Right?
But you have to be smarter in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
I'm
just saying it's very impressive.
It is. Oh, super impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who could build a ship piece by piece.
Do you think, it doesn't,
maybe
it looks
it's just
cool.
A bunch of ships put together.
That's what I thought, too, because, it looks looks very cool, but,
it's like when you say you built a car piece by piece, but it's like, you started out with a frame, and then you we're like...
Yeah. So she bought the frame, and then I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
She says piece by piece. I imagine it, literally as having nothing and like a piece of metal, and then like you start off of
No,
that.
I think it's more like the way people build cars.
Yeah, I think you're definitely absolutely right about that. It's still very impressive.
It is.
What were we talking about before that?
I don't know. Our train of thought is going
it's
haywire
all over the place. I'm just I really enjoy this episode. I was talking about how Rafa is a jerk is basically
she's an asshole. Ahsoka keeps telling them like, hey, spice isn't actually that cool. Like it's used for way worse things.
Right.
And
we should definitely talk about spice. So spice in Star Wars, what would you call it? Space meth?
Space meth, yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Death sticks. I'm assuming.
No, I think space meth is more like appropriate because like the same stuff that you can turn meth into is also the same stuff you can turn in medicine into.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very much the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally fair. So, I guess what Star Wars has never really addressed, and you rarely ever see it talked about, is that spice is used for medicine, because every time you see spice talked about, it's talked about from the drug perspective.
Always.
It's always
I didn't
drugs.
actually know that spice was something that was also good. I just assumed
Neither did
it was
I
bad.
until this episode.
Yeah, no, until this, I honestly just assumed it was always like, oh, if you're a spice runner, you're like kind of like a drug runner almost, or whatever.
Exactly.
But I guess now we're learning a little bit that it's not necessarily the worst.
Right, I guess.
Because it can be used for medicine to
help
people across the galaxy.
Totally. So can marijuana.
Yeah, as that one king said.
Yeah.
When Ahsoka was like, pretty sure spice can be used for other things.
That was like his like Grand Vizier or whatever of the king. Yeah, and he was super sketchy.
Oh yeah. Just the sketchiest way to say
there's that raider that drops
medicine.
that medicine.
Yeah.
He that waiter drops that plate behind him, and he like looks like he's gonna get shot.
Yeah.
So
well, I think they're trying to set up that he's like, this is a bad, scary man.
So okay, there's a couple things. Yeah, they address a couple things, or they try to. They talk about this show. This episode's got a lot happening. So they also they're like flying towards like the sketchy part of Kessel, and they're like, look at all those droids down there. And she's like,
heartbreaking.
She's like, those aren't droids. Those are the droids you're looking for. They're people, and then they go cut down, and there's just a bunch of people, slaves, right? And then they're like, Rafa's like, this couldn't be illegal because the Republic would shut it down.
Right.
And she's like, you'd think, wouldn't you? And you're like, yeah, you would think, because I guess this is at the point in the time where the Republic is basically at its shittiest.
Yeah.
Right. They overlook stuff all the time. It's just everything gets politicized, and people turn a blind eye because there's a lot of money being made. Yada yada yada. Like slavery. Like there's slaves on Tatooine. Right?
Oh, everywhere.
Right?
And the Jedi are always like, we can't really get involved because there's too much, right? But no, it is kind of that bummer where Ahsoka has to kind of teach them a little bit, where it's like, no, like they're slaves, but you can kind of see her losing her faith again in the Jedi when they say like, oh, well then
where would the Jedi
the Republic would help, and she's like, fuck,
probably.
they should be, and I wish they would, but they're not.
Too busy just fighting some stupid war.
Yeah. They're too busy doing other shit that doesn't, well, really, in the end of things, it doesn't matter.
Here's a question I have for you. So they talk about, so they get the spice, right? And then they start talking about how they're going to be dropping it off to the Pikes, which is a crime family.
Yes.
Right?
Pikes are bad.
Pikes are bad. Totally. So are the Red Suns, I think, is another.
There's so many.
There's a bunch of them. The Hutts is another example. But they dump the spice. So Trace dumps the spice because she doesn't want anyone to lose the ship, which is a dumb move, and everyone agrees it's a dumb move.
Oh yeah, because basically Ahsoka and Rafa are just arguing about what they should do with it, right? Because she's like, seriously, the Pikes? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I love the moment where she's like, you dumped it? She's like, I'm with her. She's like, what about taking it to a good person? She's like, well, that was more of an ethical argument.
Yeah. Like, I didn't mean we were actually going to do it. I just said we could and should do that instead.
I thought that was very funny. So
it was funny.
Here's the thing, though. What I don't understand is, and maybe I just don't understand economics of how this stuff works generally, but so they buy the spice off Kessel.
Yes.
And then they take it to the crime boss, and it's like the crime boss is like, well, hey, was there any problems getting the spice to you? And she's like, because if there was, it would be very inconvenient for you.
Right.
Not the person who gave you the spice. So that's what I've never understood. It's like there's very little to gain from being a spice runner.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you
other
have
than
all the I guess
money.
other than money, other than that
Right.
obvious thing.
and a job.
But like it's like you take all the responsibility. You
Oh,
take
yeah.
there's no issues. I mean, there's their own different issues with mining spice and being a crime syndicate, but whatever.
Right.
But like you have to take on all the responsibility of maintaining the possession of this spice. Like they said, pirates can come along, just fucking steal your shit, and now what?
Right.
Now you have to.
And
now
now
you
you're
owe this. Now exactly. Now you're
Yeah.
under the thumb of a crime boss.
Well, I think that's part of it because it's like you can't just have people running around being like, "Oh, pirates took it," when they probably,
Yeah.
maybe they didn't.
Exactly.
So you have to set that standard of
yeah,
like,
exactly.
if you don't bring it here, you're probably gonna die.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's a risky move. It's a risky business.
Super risky. But I mean, as Raph said, pirates wouldn't come after their ship because it's too small.
Right. It says
She thought that.
$300,000. 300,000 credits, she said.
Yeah,
So I wonder how much money they would have made
I think
from
it was 30,000. But
30,000. Right.
no
whatever.
baby.
Yeah. Just an extra zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're watching this. So the plan when they get there is to. And so okay, a couple things that I enjoy. So they cut away. Like we're almost at the thing. They cut away and they're like, let's go over the plan again, which is like a trope, right?
Right.
Cliche. Well, let's go over the plan again because we don't have to hear them actually coming up with the plan. We just want to hear the final plan.
Yeah.
But they don't actually tell us what the plan is,
No,
which
they
I
never
like
do.
because they start arguing again,
Yeah.
right? She's like, because it's a bad plan, right? And it turns out this is Ahsoka's big plan. They're just going to give them empty crates and hope it goes well.
Yeah.
I guess her backup plan is the Jedi mind trick. Like that's her. Like
I think
her
that's
sleeve
always
up.
her like plan in the back of her
Yeah.
mind. She's like, we'll give it to them, and then if there's any problem, she's thinking like, I'll
Right.
just Jedi mind trick
So,
them,
like-
and it'll be fine.
Right.
Hopefully.
So Trace and Rafa agree to this plan.
Yeah, because
Not
they don't know
knowing-
about
yeah,
the Jedi
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
They
So
think,
to them, the plan is like, let's just pretend to give it to them and
Right.
drive away.
because couldn't you just also just never show up? Just never show up, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they have like they could go back to Coruscant, I guess, but they have a ship already,
Yeah.
right? They only owe money to people in Coruscant, so just don't show up to
Yeah.
the Pikes with this terrible plan. I would, if I was the person flying the ship, I'd be like, no, there's no fucking way I'm showing up there.
Yeah.
It's
We'll
a
just
bad
go
idea.
back.
Or at least tell me
But-
what this ace in your sleeve is, right?
Well, because she's doing the same thing Rafa did.
Yeah.
Rafa didn't want to tell her what the plan is beforehand, so Ahsoka's like, I can't really tell you guys I'm a Jedi yet.
Right. She says like
so-
yet, right? That's the cool
Yeah.
part. So this is gonna be very much like Rebels season 1, where
Mhm.
we find out when he reveals he's the Jedi at the end, which
I
is
just
so
got
of that first episode. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
When Kanan rips
yeah,
like
he
his
puts it
lightsaber,
together,
it's
clip,
so
clip,
good.
clap, and
So great.
yeah, it's a great moment. So this is, I imagine, next episode, because it ends on this very cool cliffhanger, right? And because they're caught in a tractor beam, I just think it's very classic Star Wars kind of conundrum. Like, okay, you're captured by
Yeah.
some bad guy. By the way, Rafa's like, I'm totally gonna blame all this on you.
Yeah.
Which, like, legit, totally should. It was mostly a bad plan.
I mean, I think running spice to the Pikes in the first place was a bad plan.
Yeah,
And then, yeah. I would probably honestly blame it on Trace for dumping it all into space.
Yeah, that's equally as stupid as anything else
Yeah.
that happened. Like she says, like, there's plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah.
They all do something dumb.
Oh, all of them. Yeah.
Except for Ahsoka's whole thing is just coming up with a bad plan, but she's kind of been put in a bad situation
Well, it's
already.
like, what else? What other plan are they going to have? I mean, other than running away, but the guy already hired them, so he knows who Rafa is, so he'll just come find her anyway.
Yeah. I'm just saying they didn't have to go back to Coruscant.
No.
There's a whole galaxy that they could have
Oh,
gone
true.
to.
Yeah, they could have
Right.
just took off, but
Yeah. Go to Tatooine.
did-
Who's going to find you there?
Darth Maul.
Literally everyone goes to Tatooine.
Everyone just hides it because it's the shithole.
It's the backwater of the galaxy that everyone goes to. So
Yeah. At least we found out where they got all their businesses from, because you're pissed about that last time.
oh yeah,
You're like, where'd they get all the
like where do they
real
have all this
estate from?
stuff? Yeah.
Because they gave you that like weird line. It was like, after our parents split, where it's like, okay, so
Are they
like,
super dead? They're super dead.
they're probably dead or took off, but like, yeah,
That's
no.
also apparently is a classic Star Wars thing. Parents just leaving
Just
people
no,
behind.
yeah, no parents. Just
yeah.
peace.
No one has parents in this
here's
galaxy.
a garage. Bye.
Yeah, here's a garage.
We're leaving.
Train yourself to fix stuff. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna tell you how to do it.
We're going to Tatooine.
Yeah, there's some good spice there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that we are missing? I feel like there's a couple things I don't recall.
I'm trying to think. Not really. I mean, other than Ahsoka's still kind of managing to hide her roots.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't clicked into the point that she has these powers yet.
Does she have her lightsaber still? It's not clear. She doesn't like it. They're certainly not on her hip.
I don't know because I'm trying to remember.
When she leaves the order, does she like give her the lightsabers?
Oh no, we talked about this. Remember, we talked about this, and she ends up doing something with those lightsabers later after Order 66.
Right, so she still has them.
Technically,
either she still has them, or Anakin still has them, and then gives it. Like you said, totally gonna meet.
Yeah.
Anakin's gonna give it back to her, and then she does something.
They're still around because she doesn't get her white ones until much later. So.
Yeah. No, because she has to convert. I think Asajj's old ones.
No, she builds them. I don't want to spoil shit. I guess we spoil shit though.
Yeah.
No, it's in the. There's a novelization called Ahsoka.
Yes, I've read that. I just don't recall anything from it.
She builds them, and then the crystals are calling her, but they're in an Inquisitor's like.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They were red. They were red ones.
They were red, and then I don't know how they explain that, but she splits it in half, and then they're white.
Okay. Everyone knows if you divide red in two, you get white.
I don't know. Maybe because she's so pure and killed evil. Who fucking knows?
I don't know. I mean, why?
It's one of those Star Wars boop. Like,
it's like one of just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, ooh, yeah. Red lightsabers are red because the crystal is bleeding or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like okay, all right.
Yeah, they have to make the crystal bleed. It's bad.
Is it bleed or just it's like
no,
angry?
It's bleed.
Yeah.
They call it bleeding.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's like she fixed the bleeding. She patched it up.
Something like that. They explain it. I'll refresh my memory on that for next time.
What I don't like. So she had an Inquisitor's lightsaber already that was functional.
No.
And then it didn't work, or she just had the crystals from it.
No, she got her white crystals from that. I can't remember what she killed him with.
Because like anyone can use any lightsaber. Like she didn't have to make a new one.
No, I know, but she already had pieces that she was collecting throughout the novel. She's like, oh, and then you kind of know she's collecting things to build lightsabers, and then she gets the crystals because she can feel a kyber crystal calling to her, but it's coming from the like main bad guy Inquisitor of the novel.
Right.
It's coming from his saber, so she ends up killing him somehow. I can't remember, and then realizes that that's where the crystals are calling her from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Think about other things I liked about this episode. I liked when she uses her Jedi mind trick. That other guy's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, because he's just like, "Oh, well, I want to see the spice before we go on here," and then she's like, "You want to give us our money and let us go?"
He's like, "Oh, okay, here's your money." She's like, and even. Rafa's like, oh fuck, sweet, this plan is good.
Yeah.
And then this guy's like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Wait a second here. And then the other guy's like just walks away, I guess, or something. And he opens them up, and there's nothing in them. And then shit turns.
She's like, oh, we gave you the codes. They're trying to get away. They obviously don't in time before a tractor beam.
This is I always think about this. This clearly, again, talk about shady. Like if you're the guy who's on the dock, right?
Yeah.
If you see someone go. I think we transmitted them to it, and you turn to someone and says, "Get the ship running."
Yeah,
like
Get
it's
out of here.
like no one ever notices that second, like that look and the like. It's so cliche. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great.
I mean,
it's It's so. Try looking on the other side. Get going. Yeah. You know what? Maybe just over to the. Seriously, we got to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad Ahsoka didn't have time to use like one more mind trick on that guy.
Yeah, just mind trick that guy. Yeah.
It's like, oh, the spice is there.
Is there like how far do you have to close to be to someone to mind trick them?
I don't know. I have to ask George Lucas.
Here's a question.
Or Dave.
Have I ever asked you this?
I don't know.
Why can't Jedi fly?
They can. They jump really high.
Jumping high and flying
Well, they can
are
move
two
really
very
fast,
different things.
and they can
jump really high, and they can move things with their mind, right?
They can throw each other, so they.
Yeah, we've seen that.
I think their powers have limits. Like they have like a spatial limit.
Right. So why can't they stand on something and make that thing fly?
They probably could, but I don't know. They'd probably have to like pick it up and then throw it with themselves on it, so it might be like. Because you have to push shit.
Why?
Right?
They can lift things and levitate things. Why can't they levitate things they're standing on?
Because they're using the natural world around it to lift it and push it. So you still need something physically to push. You know what I mean?
I can't believe you're defending it. I just
you asked a question.
I'm not
trying to answer
This is a
it.
question I want to ask Dave Filoni.
Okay, let's email him right now.
Can we?
Yeah. Dear Dave Filoni, why can't Jedi fly?
Yeah. Seriously,
because it's just too much.
It is. It would be too much, I guess. But it's like,
fly.
don't even get me started. That's the stupidest thing. That stupid whirly helicopter move.
You get one
flying
of
away.
those. You need a whirly,
Yeah,
whirly lightsaber.
It's like
to
one of
fly
those. It's like Mr. Gadget with his stupid hat that has a helicopter
I
in it.
feel like that's one of those things where they did it, and
And
then
they're like, oh shit, that was
"Fuck."
dumb.
Yeah.
Because it's like in such a cool moments, and it's like,
It looks so cool when you're like first you're like, oh, cool, and then you're like,
wait a minute.
yeah.
I-
Yeah.
It's
So
honestly the stupidest thing. It's one of the
I don't
stupidest
know.
things that Star Wars has ever done. Was that because first of all, have you ever tried holding on to something that's just like with one hand, that's just like in the air?
I couldn't because I have no
upper. You can't do half a
grip
chin up.
strength. I could. Yeah, I can't.
I'm not. It's fine. Most
Don't
people can't
at me.
do. Most people can't do a chin up.
Fuck. You're just telling the internet all my secrets today, but
Is there others that I can reveal?
I don't know.
No, probably not.
But
Okay. What else? I think that's it. I think we've covered it all.
yeah, I think mostly from that. Yeah, like you said, it leaves on that cliffhanger of like, how are they going to get out of this conundrum?
Right.
Typical, really like
except it was
classic
much.
Clone
Except it was
Wars.
much more like cool than da-dum-da-dum.
No, yeah, it's way better. Like that first
Yeah.
episode pissed me off because
Right.
everything was so like da da da, and I was like, I can't handle this. But
Yep.
no, I like this one a lot better. It helped. Obviously, we needed that first episode to kind of get a feel for those two new characters, so I forgive it a little bit more. But
Yeah,
Not
I
as
still don't
much.
like last week's episode, but
no,
I
this
think
one, it was much better.
I think it was longer, which isn't
Yeah.
always better, but I think definitely
I think this one needed to be just to kind of, yeah,
they needed to take an episode where they basically did nothing but character work, and you could argue bad character work, and then do a whole episode where you have to set up, going from Coruscant to a thing, and then a problem situation, and then leave it on a cliffhanger. Like that's a lot to do in one episode. So,
yeah.
they needed the extra time, and again, I just think they really captured the Star Wars feel. And you're right. Like, what's next week going to happen? It's going to be them escaping,
Yeah.
and them all coming together as best friends, and probably Rafa dying. I hope.
She is a huge bitch. Like
She's so selfish.
Yeah. She's probably one of the bitchier characters I like, and not in like a funny way. Like she just sucks. Like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
it's not even like you're like funny,
Like,
sassy,
like when
or like you're just
she-
like fuck you suck. Like,
She has that line early, and she's like, "So yeah, you and my sister like best friends now?
yeah. Just
What's
so
your
mad.
what's your angle?"
Yeah.
Again, it's just another one of those things with like Star Wars characters being. Oh, did you just spill on yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's okay. Only like one person's watching, so
There's at least more than that. There's at
it
least
was all for
two
them.
people.
They could see that.
But I don't even remember what I was talking about. This.
You're just making fun of Rafa and how
Yeah,
shitty
well,
she
it's
is.
just-
It's like, yeah, it's just that typical, like, it's only us two and we're family and family sticks together and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
And also,
But-
it's only about me. And also, I don't trust you because I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
You know?
I do think eventually Trace is going to start seeing, like, okay, family isn't everything. And, like,
Or maybe like it's not that
it's not
family
always
is
the
everything.
best.
It's just like family's not always the best if your family sucks.
right.
You know?
Doesn't
Yeah,
give a shit about you.
and then
But-
she asked you to come along this mission because she had to get to do this job because her pilot backed out.
Yeah.
Clearly extremely dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like
oh, yeah. Get my little sister who barely knows how to fly and build her own ship.
right to run Spice.
To start running Spice
Yeah.
to the Pikes.
That's yeah,
Like-
it's just like you're a bad person for doing
Yeah.
that to your sister.
It's like if I had a little sister and she built a car and I was like, oh, you want to go like start running some coke to some real bad drug
yeah,
dealers?
yeah.
Like,
She's like, I don't know how to drive. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out on the
okay.
way. We'll figure it out on the way.
yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
We have a question in here. Oh, they're asking you to give us their Disney Plus account. No. I've already used it up on all the slots.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
There's already a Hannah
same.
Montana fan. There's
like-
already.
I've already got my friends hooked up to mine.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
I've already
Sorry,
been
did I say that?
mooched
Did I
off
say that online? Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, so that covers it. I think we've covered everything. I am looking
Yeah.
forward to next week.
Me
There's
too.
gonna be some lightsaber. I hope.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
We'll
You got to
see.
think there's gonna be some
Yeah,
little
we'll
bit
see.
of lightsaber
She's got to
action.
reveal that she's a Jedi sooner or later.
Yeah.
So.
But she's already used Force pull, and she's
Mhm.
already used the Jedi mind trick. So
Yeah.
she's been using Jedi powers
Just
every
sneakily.
episode, right? Now it's like it's gonna have to come like full bore. And she
Yeah.
fought a bunch of people in a very like
Right, but with no lightsaber. She's,
yeah, and then kicked a guy in the nuts.
that was so stupid.
A bodoink.
yeah.
Okay. Follow us on Twitter at TowerBabbleCast, Facebook.com/TowerBabbleCast, and TowerBabblePodcast.com for everything we do. You can actually also go to towerbabble.ca. That's another place.
Oh, you have a website.
Yeah, we have one website, 2 URLs.
Oh.
They go to the same place.
I didn't know that could be a thing, but sweet.
Yep.
Check it out.
Exactly. This is Small Screen Star Wars. It is a Tower Babble spin-off show, but it exists on the same network. And if you want to help us support the show, help us buy new microphones so we don't have to hold them in our hand like weirdos.
So sweaty.
So my hand is so sweaty right now. You just keep choosing to reveal information you don't need to.
People appreciate it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It shows that you're honest.
I'm probably the most honest podcaster on this couch.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Anyway, patreon.com/TowerBabbleCast. And like I said at the top, this next month is free. All the content will be available, so you can kind of see what it's like to be a Patreon subscriber. We just did a film club. This time it wasn't a Tom Cruise movie.
Good.
It was... how dare you?
I'll give you $5 and you can tell me all about it.
Sorry, what?
So I'll give you $5 because that's how your Patreon
Right,
costs,
okay, exactly.
and
okay.
you can tell me everything you thought about the movie.
Yeah, it was great. It was Children of Men, which is a movie about a world not dissimilar to one we're in right now, where all the women can't have babies anymore, and the world is just falling apart, and they don't know how. Could be a virus, so it's like a little too close to home. Probably, we agreed, the most underrated movie of all time.
Oh, I've never seen it, so maybe I should check it out.
It's
kind of like, it sounds like it's like Why the Last Man, but backwards.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Last Man's great.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like that. It's a bit, it's very grimy. It does some really cool, interesting camera work. It's Alfonso Cuarón, so he's the same guy who did Roma last year.
Who's the main character in that? Not main character.
Clive Owen.
Clive. Ooh, I like Clive Owen.
Yeah,
okay.
Clive. He's very lanky in this movie. He's like he moves like.
For some reason, I thought it was a Nicolas Cage movie, but
oh God, we would never. How dare you? Unless it was Gone in 60 Seconds.
What about Face Off?
No.
Fine. That's why I'm never. No, I'm just kidding. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Hey, listen, will you give me $5 if we watch Face Off?
Yes.
Okay, deal. All right. We'll be back next week. What's next week's episode? Do we know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's episode 7 of season 7.
We'll try to be back earlier next week.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna post this. I'll try to post this tonight.
Yeah.
If not, what are you gonna do? Yeah, we'll try to get this out a little bit sooner. I know, like it comes out Friday, and we usually do this on Monday. Mm-hmm. It's now Tuesday, but like
that's my fault.
It's fine. Yeah. It's fine because, like you said, no one's watching anyway.
No one knows what day it is anyway.
Yeah, honestly, that's true. And you, what did you say? You're like you're like, oh, I would do it Sunday because I usually have nothing going on unless I'm drunk already.
Yeah, pretty much.
You should have saw us the other day though. We did some fun. We had a big brunch, and we had a lot of mimosas, and then a bunch of beer after. So I was day drunk and fell asleep. You ever fallen asleep day drunk? You get a hangover by the afternoon.
It's usually like beach days that happens.
I hate that.
Quarantine.
It feels so gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. You guys don't need to know that stuff. It's all good. We'll be back next week with more Star Wars.